It's me, Alex, stay-at-home reader, and that's Hondo. He's kind of going crazy today. I don't know if he's itchy, he's scratching himself on the rocks a lot, or he's got a stomach ache, something, I don't know, but he's been freaking out, so I'm sure he'll be a nice distraction while I film this 26 random questions tag that Bert did on Pistori Time, and Sean kind of did too. She was answering it off screen. But I've been meaning to get to it a lot sooner, and I actually did film it a week ago while I was driving around, but that just ended up being crap. So we're going to start over, which means I'm going to have a couple new answers because there's a couple like in the moment questions. So first of all, what was your most recent YouTube rabbit hole? And this actually has to do with this guy over here. I had to watch several videos on how to get a bearded dragon to poop. I watched videos on how to give them tummy massages. There was recommendations for nice warm 100-degree baths and what to feed them. So we ended up going with pumpkin puree with some water and olive oil. And so 2 days of that and some tummy rubs and baths, and finally, this guy pooped. So, you asked. I'm just saying. That's the answer. My latest rabbit hole on YouTube was lizard videos, specifically on poop. Number 2, what song is currently stuck in your head? And this morning, I believe it's called Pompeii by Bastille. I love that song. I think it's super catchy. Don't put it on, Owen, because then YouTube will freak out about me playing music on the video. But I love that song. However, it freaks me out. Like, it makes me really sad because I just start imagining being in Pompeii during the eruption of Mount Vesuvius and just how fucking desperate, like, that whole situation was. There is no escape. Oh my gosh. But fun song. Nice, upbeat, catchy song. And it's the one that's been in my head all morning. I don't know. What kind of music do you listen to the most? I don't really know. I guess just whatever's on the like popular radio stations, like the top 40 kind of stuff, because I don't really put on music myself. If I'm going to listen to something, it's an audiobook or a podcast. The kids certainly have been enjoying listening to music, and so it's whatever they put on, I'll listen to with them, or if we're in the car, it's just radio station. But my personal music taste ranges from like Disney soundtracks to the White Stripes to Simon and Garfunkel to Otis Redding. What else do I like going? Mumford and Sons, Imagine Dragons. We said that at the same time. I like anything. I just don't listen to music as much as I did as a teenager. What number am I on? Number 4. What is something you need to get better at? So many things. What comes to mind the most is getting better at time management. I am a professional procrastinator. I mean, it's fine. I get stuff done. I just stress myself out by waiting to the last possible moment. That lizard is going nuts. Number 6. When was the last time you lost your temper? Right before Christmas. The kids and I were in the grocery store and they pissed me off because they were acting like brats. Owen's right here. So you were acting like little brats in the grocery store and I had to yell. That was probably the last time I lost my temper. I mean, it's not the last time I yelled. We yell a lot in this house, right? We're very loud people. Especially in your direction. Come here. Come show your cute little face. My cute boy. All right, get out. Oh, Owen, you answer this one for me. Do you swear too much?
Yes.
Come answer it.
Yes, he does.
A lot. I do, and he does also swear too much. I don't mind swearing. I love swearing. My mom's not the biggest fan, but she swears plenty too. But like, I swear more than her, so she always makes a comment about it. And so like my kids swear. Owen more than Oliver. But it's not like they are getting in trouble with teachers. They're homeschooled. And if I don't mind it, it doesn't matter. And they're good about not swearing outside of the house or in front of people that they shouldn't. So like they've never sworn in front of my mother-in-law because she is not okay with cuss words. So I don't mind. And isn't there that study that people who swear a lot are actually more creative and more intelligent? I believe it. So, do you spend too much money on shoes? And I don't think so. Not on my own shoes anyway. I feel like we spend a lot of money on the kids because their feet are growing and they're so active, and then different sports come with different footwear. So on myself, no. And even on the kids, it's not too much money. It's what they need. So it's not too much. What is the worst book you've ever read? And that's a hard one to answer because this past year, probably the worst books would have been Ready Player 2. Absolutely hated it. Earthlings by Sayaka Murata. Hated that. And both of those were disappointing because I enjoyed the previous books I read by those authors. I hated The Little Prince. Don't buy the hype on that one. But like in my bookish history, there are two books that make me the most mad to think about to this day. And that's The Signature of All Things, I believe by Elizabeth Gilbert. The other book that pisses me off was The Miniaturist. I think that's Jessie Burton. I hated that book. Like, there were so many elements that could have been good, that could have like taken the story in a direction that would have been interesting, and then they just get dropped. Like, you're like, oh, okay, she's gonna go for this like fantasy element, dropped. She's gonna go for this mystery, dropped. She's going to explore this, nope, she's not. And in the end, the story is so just not satisfying. Like, she didn't actually do anything with that boring book, and people love that book. It got an adaptation. It was chosen for book clubs, like the celebrity book clubs, I believe. I read it with my own book club in town, and we all just ragged on it. And this was years ago, but it is still like the book club that sticks out in my mind as like the most fun, because we all absolutely hated this book. So like when I hear that book get a lot of praise and get recommended a lot, and it just blows my mind, and I'm still angry about it. So anyway, number 10. Are you a homebody or are you adventurous? And I am 100% a homebody, introvert. Just like leave me in my bubble, please. Number 11 is, do you take naps? Yeah. Usually it's like I've just dozed off on the couch, in the afternoon, accidentally, like just a quick little cat nap on the couch. Every once in a while on a weekend, if we have nothing going on, I'll go take a nap, but that happens much less often now. But I have nothing against naps. Like, I know there are people like my husband, and I have another friend who's the same way. Like, naps end up making them cranky. Like, they wake up a little disoriented. And then they're just like, what the heck do I do with the rest of the day? So, not the case for me. If I nap, it's not a big deal. I like them. Anyway. Number 12. Have you ever been to Minnesota, the greatest state in the Union, which is a stretch. I definitely would not call it the greatest state in the Union. Personally, I would say that's New Jersey, even though I know that's a lie too. But yes, I have been to Minnesota. I actually lived in Minnesota as a young child, probably 2 or 3. We moved out there. My dad has some family out there, and we lived there about 4 years before moving back to New Jersey, and then that's where I grew up. But really, I grew up in Connecticut. I moved to Connecticut for college at 18, and have lived here ever since. And so yeah, I grew up in New Jersey, and then that's where I spent my childhood, but I grew up, as in, like, became an adult in Connecticut. Number 13, have you ever tried to emulate someone? Yeah, of course. Like, who hasn't? I think a major flaw I have or had, maybe still, I don't know. It's less now because I interact with less people. But I would definitely let traits of, like, the people I was spending time with kind of rub off on me. And so I definitely now in my 30s have come to realize, like, no apologies. This is me and I don't even care. But earlier in my life, I would definitely try to, emulate whoever I was spending time with. Number 14, the worst food you've ever eaten. I don't know. I'm not terribly adventurous when it comes to food. Okay. When my husband and I started dating and I went up to New Hampshire to visit his family, there was an adjustment to, like, the types of food his mom prepared versus, what I was used to. And they have this one dish they call chop suey. And I have this image of what chop suey is. And so when I was served this, like, macaroni with hunks of tomato and pepperoni, I was very confused. So I guess its full title is American chop suey. And it's a New England thing. And it was disgusting. And even my husband now is like, yeah, I hated that. And his mom used to argue with him that it's, like, the same thing as pizza. Like, it's got all the same components. The, like, carb, sauce, cheese, pepperoni. And he was like, it absolutely is not pizza. And it is absolutely not. So I don't know if that's the worst thing I've ever eaten, but that's what comes to mind is, like, absolutely no thank you. Okay, I had to clear up some space on my camera. So I don't know if the last question, have you ever been to a bar or enjoy bars? Have ever been a regular at one? And no, I don't enjoy bars. Too loud. But my book club used to meet at a pub, which has since closed down since the start of the pandemic. But that would have been the only regular bar or pub attendance of mine. Number 16, have you ever been hungover? I can really only think of once, and it was in college. Like I've been drunk or tipsy just like a handful of times, but I don't drink much. Number 17, what was the last time you laughed out loud reading? I know I was listening to the audiobook of Krampus that had me laughing because I was picturing a character from a TV show during a certain part, and so I just found all that amusing. I'll often kind of, like find things amusing and just chuckle, I don't know. But actual laugh out loud, I don't know. I was just thinking, actually, I need to finish reading the Thursday Next series by Jasper Fforde, and those books I find hilarious. So those, I don't think I read one of them in 2021. No, I think 2020 was the last time I read any books in that series. So I think I'm on book 4 or 5. I'll have to jump in to that. 18, how would you label or describe yourself politically? And I don't really like to do that because I don't like politics or follow politics as closely as I should. Like, I certainly have opinions, but those are based more on just like personal morality than actually understanding politics and foreign affairs and finance and economy stuff. But I guess I would describe myself as liberal. All right. Number 19, what was the last movie you watched? Last night we watched Star Wars episode something. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Episode 8? Yeah, because it's 3, 3, 3. The Last Jedi. Not my favorite in the Star Wars franchise. In fact, I thought it was my least favorite because I completely discounted the prequel trilogy, put that completely out of my head. But then when my husband reminded me those existed, I was like, oh yeah, okay, The Last Jedi is definitely not my least favorite of the series. But I didn't love it. And then we watched it again last night, and I had a lot less problems with it. So I enjoyed it a lot more than when I had initially seen that one. I hate Kylo Ren. Hate him. He's a big baby, and all he does is throw tantrums and sulk. Knock it off. Knock it off. And he's trying to prove himself to the memory of his grandfather, Darth Vader. But dude, in the end, Darth Vader turns his back on the Sith and saved his son. So you don't know. You don't know your grandfather like you think you do. And I get that he's basically weak and being manipulated. But yeah, watching the movie last night, the whole time I was pissed off at Poe Dameron for being an asshole and not accepting a woman above him, not telling him her plans, and raising a mutiny amongst the rebellion. And then what else? Oh, just Kylo Ren can't accept Rey not wanting to join him, and so he throws a tantrum. The whole movie is Kylo Ren throwing tantrums. but it wasn't as bad as I remembered. I enjoyed it, and now I can't wait. I can't wait to watch The Rise of Skywalker. We have never seen it. I don't know why we've waited so long. Number 20, do you want kids or have kids? And if you have kids, what is your advice? So obviously I want kids, or wanted kids, had kids. I mean, I still want the ones I have. I'm good though. We don't need any more. And so my advice as a parent, I guess, would be not to worry about other people's advice. When I first had Oliver, I found myself doing things the way a friend of mine did with her kids, because she was a few years older and had her kids a few years before I did, and their last name was Jones, and I was literally trying to keep up with the Joneses, and it didn't work for me. I don't even talk to them anymore. Like, just drifted apart. Like, as I started discovering what works for myself, we had less and less in common and just drifted apart. So my biggest advice is to just do what works for you, because the advice from other people is based on their life, what works for their family dynamic. Like, I used to let my kids nap late in the afternoon, and that was like a big no-no, that other moms were like, oh no, my kids can't sleep past 2:00 in the afternoon. But you know what? My kids woke up at like 4:30, 5:30, because their dad got home from work late, and we would have dinner together and then stay up and play. And that's what worked for us. So maybe it was wrong, but it made for a happy household as far as we were concerned. So yeah, your kids are your kids. And like, it's okay to, like, you know, kind of pool resources and get people's advice, what worked for them. But at the end of the day, your family is unique. And so do what works for you, and don't worry about following everyone's advice to a T. Don't try to emulate Instagram or Pinterest, because it's all a scam. Just do you. Number 21, do you get along with your siblings? And yeah, now as adults, my sister and I are friends. Growing up, I think we fought a lot. But now, I really enjoy the relationship I have with her. So yeah, now I get along with my sister. 22, a book you have serious issues with, but you love. Sorry, I had to answer a question for my son. A book that you have serious issues with, but you love. Probably just stylistically, Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secret to the Universe is one of my favorite books. It is perfect. As far as I'm concerned, I don't want to hear a bad word about it. But I will admit, the author, Benjamin O'Leary Sands, does not write in a teenage voice. He is an older gentleman, and he is a poet, and he definitely writes dialogue that there's no way teenagers talk like that. It's corny and cheesy and idealistic, but I don't care. I love it anyway. So like it's not a serious issue, because I can look past it, obviously. But 23, favorite theme song to a movie or TV show. And so, being on that Star Wars kick, like, listening to the, like, score last night watching the movie, like, my gosh, great. So there's a scene with Luke Skywalker, and just, like, his that, oh man, I don't even know what it's called. I know Darth Vader is like Imperial March, like that is iconic, but then also the one that plays for Luke Skywalker for the Jedi is just so beautiful. And so we've watched Clone Wars 2, which is an animated series that, you know, takes place during what the prequel trilogy timeline. And there's an episode, well, it's like a course of 3 episodes that span a storyline. And I think it's the brother and the sister or something like that. But Anakin and Obi-Wan and Ahsoka end up on this planet with this family. It's a father and a brother and a sister, and they represent the light and the dark, and they can kind of like see into the future. And they show Anakin what he will become. Like, they show the devastation. And
Don't they show Padme?
do they show Padme dying?
I think.
All right. They must show like Padme dying, and they show Anakin turning to the dark side and becoming Darth Vader and the devastation he causes. And he's absolutely wrecked by it. Like, he can't believe what's going to happen. And so in that like swirling images of like the future of Darth Vader, they play the Imperial March, you know, that dun 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 dun, and it's like the first time, timeline wise, obviously, like that those movies came before, but like in the story it would have been like the first exposure to that, and it was really, really powerful, and I loved it. And then his memory gets wiped, so he forgets all that, which is why it can eventually come to pass. Like they showed him and then they took that away. It was a really good episode.
Oh, they
but
also showed him his mother.
Okay. So yeah, I just love the scores from Star Wars. And then in the same vein, The Lord of the Rings is just, the score adds so much to the movies. And then on a lighter side, a TV show theme song that I absolutely love is the theme for a sitcom called Still Standing. That was great. And so I'll find the video of like the opening to that show and link it so you could hear that theme song, but it's really sweet. Number 24. Do you like your job? Sure. My job is momming. What?
Momming/teacher.
Owen says my job is a teacher.
Momming/teacher/everything.
Mommy/teacher/everything. Yes, I am a stay-at-home mom. I am a homeschooling mom. So that is just an umbrella term for sports mom. Yep. So I'm the chauffeur, sideline coach. What else? I do the cooking. I do the first aid. So I cover all the jobs.
Daddy pays for it.
Okay. Daddy pays for it. So whenever I say I don't work, my husband is good about saying, yes, you do. Whatever. But, yeah, I can't imagine doing anything else. I don't know what I would do. 25. What is something you love about the city you live in? So we are right next to New Haven. Actually, on our street, at the end of our street, is like the sign that says "Welcome to New Haven." And one of my goals for this year, which reminds me, I think I skipped a question. I think there is a question about, do you set goals? And like, meh, we kind of have like, very, not resolutions, but yeah, so I guess goals. Yeah, we don't set resolutions, but we have little goals. And so one of my goals for this year is to explore New Haven more. So because I am not adventurous, because I'm a homebody, like, that's not something I've done a lot of. Also because like downtown New Haven is like, what are you going to do but shop? And like, I don't, my stay-at-home mom job doesn't exactly come with a high salary. So like, we're not going to go shop. We're not going to go out to eat and spend a lot of money. But I think a goal of mine is to explore the city more. And so, yeah, what I love about being where we are is just its proximity to everything. We're not far from beaches. We're not far from woods. We're not far from cities. We are pretty much right between my family in New Jersey, my husband's family in New Hampshire. If we were city venturing people, we are right in between Boston and New York. I prefer Boston. Go figure. Growing up like in North Jersey with like the New York City skyline like out my window. That city stresses me out, but I love Boston. Fun fact, Oliver's name while I was pregnant with him, like I was set, like his name was going to be Boston Alexander. But obviously not. He's Oliver. What else? That's it. All right. And then number 26, the last question is, what is who is your celebrity crush? All the celebrities. I love them all. I love having crushes. It's so fun to be like, oh my gosh, what a cutie. Basically the entire MCU cast. I love Mark Hamill, right? Watching Star Wars last night. But like old Mark Hamill. Yeah. I like him now. I don't know. I like how scruffy he is. I think he's really developed the Luke Skywalker character and like the burden of being Luke Skywalker. And I think he plays it well and just his eyes. So I was crushing on Mark Hamill last night watching the movie. As scruffy and dirty as he looks. Over New Year's weekend, I watched an episode of The World According to Jeff Goldblum. He's a longtime crush of mine. I absolutely love him. He cracks me up. Who doesn't love Jeff Goldblum? But yeah, so I go from old man crushes, Neil Gaiman, big love of mine. And then what the Tom Holland, the new baby Spider-Man, he's so cute. And then I feel like a creepy cougar for being like, he's such a cutie, but whatever. All right, well, that's it from me and Hondo. Star Wars reference, his name. He's named after the space pirate kind of black market dealer, so that's what he's named after. So that's it from us, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.